After a marathon of tropical downpours and flooding, especially for our eastern counties, we finally, there was a little bit of a lag there, but we finally have gotten the fall season, at least a touch of fall, to make its way down on into the state of Florida. However, even though the fall season is trying to rock and roll for many of us across the lower 48, there's still another season I want to talk to you about because there is a bit of a wild card, a little monkey in the wrench or a fly in the ointment to channel my inner John McClane out there. And it's not Tropical Storm Lorenzo, although I do have the latest information on that named storm. We kind of did a little bit of a flip-flop. It was Jerry at the end of last week, and then through the weekend, suddenly, blink and you'll miss it. Now we've got our 12th named storm down there, Tropical Storm Lorenzo, which is actually on a weakening trend. Once again, westerly vertical wind shear, just like we saw with Jerry, ultimately causing that storm's demise, has really toppled over the thunderstorm structure with this system. And we've actually dropped, according to the latest advisory from National Hurricane Center, from a 50-mile-an-hour tropical storm down to 45 miles an hour, and the central pressure has come up 3 millibars since the last advisory. But the main reason I want to bring this up, and I'm glad I dropped my article when I did, because it does look like National Hurricane Center has shortened the forecast track. They're expecting Lorenzo to discontinue, to dissipate altogether before it can do a little loop-de-loop fashion out there as it heads back towards northwest Africa. Area of subtropical ridging, high pressure down in the low levels, is going to be bullied thanks to the nor'easter system racing up the east coast of the United States, helping to suppress that high pressure and get it caught up in the clockwise turning in the winds. So initially, the track, if you look at my article, you'll see it. The track had it going like this and circling back around as it continued to dissipate. That turning is pivotal, and I want to show you why. So what we have down there is another tropical wave. If you notice, I have it highlighted as next wave. You can see it's actually got some pretty generous showers and storms with it and is very heavily sandwiched to the south, kind of riding that 10-degree north latitude line. Because that high pressure is going to work its way down into the southeast quadrant of the North Atlantic, the northern hemispheric Atlantic, I should say. Notice how Lorenzo wraps around the north side of it, and it's also going to help get that next wave to make a run for the Lesser Antilles. And the reason this is something that's interesting, definitely has my attention, is it changes the rhythm that we followed pretty much this entire hurricane season. We've yet to see anything in the Caribbean altogether. We've had some close calls. Erin, Gabrielle, Humberto. We also had Imelda that started out as a sloppy rainmaker through portions of Cuba and the northwesternmost Bahamas before turning out to sea as well. Everything has pretty much done that a la 2023, if you all recall. This one getting a little more on the interesting side. You take a look at our latest probabilities from the European ensembles. Love this product. It's just a simple color-coded shading where you should be looking in the tropics, and notice that we have really seen a steady uptick in the color coding down there, south of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, kind of off the coast of Honduras, Costa Rica, and Panama. Probabilities are now all the way up to about 50 to 60% that at least a tropical depression will try to show itself down there, maybe even making it into our 13th named storm, Melissa. On top of the ensembles, when you take a look at some of our dynamical, the actual physics-driven computer models, this is the GFS kind of working in tandem with the Euro as we go through late next week. So again, a key takeaway here before we even finish up this update, we've got a lot of time to dissect this and watch the trends. That's precisely what I'll be doing here in the Weather Center and at home base. But you can see the GFS as we go through late next week does in fact also spin up a potential tropical storm down there, if not tries to build it into a hurricane. Now again, I want to echo the same sentiments as moments before. We're not worried just yet. We're not concerned. I do have my magnifying glass shifted towards the Caribbean, mainly because that's a huge change of pace for this whole hurricane season. Everything's been out in the Atlantic, curving up and away from everybody. You put a system in the Caribbean like that, and somebody is going to receive it, whether it be just a lot of rain causing mudslides, landslides, and flooding, or a bona fide hurricane. Somebody has to receive the impacts, even if it stays away from us in Central Florida. So just kind of, sending out the recommendation that perhaps we keep at least a half-open eye on this if you've almost tried to tune out the hurricane season as we get